Thank you to the nursing program in collaboration with WXVU for that promo. We're back here on Villanova Sports Talk. David Szczepanski with you on this Wednesday afternoon. About 20 minutes left of the program. It is coming up to the last chance to vote on the Twitter poll questions on my Twitter at WXVU David S. They were posted earlier this morning. There are 3 that you can vote on, so if you'd like to, please do so. And as well, in addition to that, you can follow us on our Instagram at WXVU.sports to stay up to date with all the broadcasting information, because we have a lot of broadcasts coming up, especially next week, as we have Villanova men's and women's basketball returning over the next 10 days or so. And also, if you missed any of today's show, I will post it on Spotify as well as Apple Podcast or wherever you find your podcast under WXVU Podcast. It will take me about a half an hour or so after we end at about 1 o'clock to post it. But if you missed any of it, especially in the first 30 minutes or so, we really talked about Villanova football and the win against New Hampshire and previewing the upcoming game against Hampton on Saturday. All right, let's transition into Villanova men's basketball. Obviously, a lot to get to here on this Wednesday after they played their first game against an actual opponent on Sunday against Robert Morris in the charity scrimmage benefiting Team Impact. I do have a recap video and article available on my Twitter as well as my YouTube and Instagram. Some stats here breaking down in terms of my thoughts. Villanova's offense looked really good. I mean, from the field, they shot almost 50% at exactly 49.3%. They did struggle from behind the arc. They took 32 shots. They made just 8 of them. All 8 came from either Eric Dixon or Jordan Longino. Dixon had 5 threes. Jordan Longino had 3 threes. That was a 25% clip when you break it down as a team. Not the best there. They got to the charity stripe 9 times. They knocked down all 9 shots. I mean, they are one of the best, if not the best, free throw shooting teams in the country. I mean, how good is Eric Dixon? I mean, I really think I could probably leave this segment at that, and I think that would be enough information. Probably not. But, I mean, Eric Dixon is amazing. I mean, he is really, as it seems, you know, from the secret scrimmage and in practices and at the blue and white scrimmage and, you know, in this game against Robert Morris, he has really taken another big step forward. And, you know, obviously that's huge for Eric Dixon's career moving forward, but it's also huge for Villanova as they try to get back to March Madness this season. He had 28 points in 24 minutes. He was 11 for 16 from the field, 5 for 9 from behind the arc. He had 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And Coach Neptune in the post-game press conference, I mean, he said that, you know, he thinks Eric Dixon is probably the most versatile, you know, player in the country. I mean, there's so many different things that, you know, he can do. He's so versatile. You know, he can shoot the ball well from behind the arc. He can get into the paint. We know that he can rebound well, but he also does a really good job at setting players up with assists. I mean, he just does so many things well. He's so talented, and, you know, he makes it look so easy. And you know, especially in his, you know, 3-point game, I mean, he also seems to have taken a step forward there as well. I mean, he was knocking down shots from, you know, well beyond the arc. I mean, these shots were, you know, probably low percentage chance shots for a good amount of, you know, scorers and shooters in college basketball, but he was knocking them down so easily, and that was great to see. And Jordan Longino, I mean, he had a fantastic game as well. I mean, if it wasn't for, you know, how good Eric Dixon is, Jordan Longino would really have been the star of this game for Villanova. He had 21 points in 24 minutes. He was a plus 29 to lead all players when on the court. And Longino also contributed 4 rebounds, 3 of them in the offensive rebounding category. And Villanova as a team, I mean, they destroyed Robert Morris in the rebounding category, 51-27. They had 15 offensive rebounds to Robert Morris's 8 offensive rebounds. And Villanova was towards the bottom of the country in offensive rebounding last year. I mean, it was one of the things that really hurt them in a lot of games and cost them at times, especially against teams that had, you know, big players on the glass, whether that was St. John's or Creighton or Marquette even at times. The offensive rebounds really were trouble for Villanova, and with, you know, it seems they made adjustments in that, but I think a lot of it also comes from, you know, how good Enoch Bawachi is, and Enoch had a double-double, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. He shot 7 for 8 from the field. Of course, the majority of his work being in the paint, had some nice dunks. I mean, you know, what I really got out of this game, and we all knew that Enoch was going to be a big part of this season in Villanova's success. But, I mean, if he continues to do what he did against the Colonials, even at a 75% clip the rest of the season, I mean, Villanova, I mean, he could really be one of the best transfer pickups this year in college basketball. I mean, maybe I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but what he brings to this team is something that Villanova has been desperately looking for the past few years. someone that can really help Eric Dixon rebound, and Enoch does that at such a high level, and someone who really, is able to defend well in the paint and allow Eric Dixon to be versatile and, stand to get set up from behind the arc to make threes in big situations, allow his range shot to really develop and work. And I think that allows so many more options for Villanova's offense, especially in the paint, when you have Enoch Bawachi, the transfer from Fresno State. I mean, how good he was on Sunday. I mean, this combination in the paint is lethal. I mean, I can't imagine a team that would want to play Villanova when both of these guys are firing at 100% and playing so well on defense and playing so well in getting rebounds and getting boards. And Enoch, after the game, talked about really his main focus is on defensive rebounding. And, if the points come, the points come. But, I mean, defensive rebounding is a big stress for Villanova, is a big stress for Enoch Bawachi. And for Villanova, any points that, Enoch can contribute is a huge plus for Villanova moving forward. And, he was just amazing in this game. In terms of, some other stats that kind of stick out, Wooga Poplar did struggle, 2 for 10 from the field, 5 points, 0 for 8 from 3. Jameer Brickus did not have a very good game when you look at his offensive production. He had 2 points, 1 for 8 from the field, 0 for 3 from behind the arc, but he had 10 assists. And, when you look at what Jameer Brickus was brought here to do, I mean, yes, you would like him to probably average about 8 points per game. I think that would be a good mark for Brickus throughout the season, but he's really brought here to be that point guard, to control Villanova's offense, and he did a fantastic job at that. I mean, that's his role. You would like to see him knock down more shots, especially from behind the arc, but he had 10 assists, and that stat alone really is a lot from Jameer, but he also, contributed 4 rebounds, which was huge. In terms of some of the other transfers, Chris Parker, I also thought looked pretty good. Parker was probably the best transfer when you look at overall offensive output. He was 0 for 3 from behind the arc, but he was 3 for 6 from the field. He also contributed 5 rebounds. I thought that, you could really see his potential there in his shot, and him coming over from Alabama, I think, will definitely help Villanova this season. He has some experience in college basketball. And Tyler Perkins also struggled. He had 4 points, 1 for 7 from the field. So not really a great day for any of the transfers besides Enoch. And like I said, I think Chris Parker had a pretty solid game. But I still think they're trying to work into Villanova's offense. And I think that will come over the next few weeks, or hopefully it will come over the next few weeks. Some other stats in terms of the freshman, Josiah Mosley had 4 points. He scored the most points, also played the most minutes in terms of the freshman. He played 17 minutes, was 2 for 4 from the field, had 5 rebounds. He's probably going to get a majority of the minutes that Eric Dixon is not able to play due to his suspension for participating in the Portsmouth Invitational for the NBA draft. So Dixon will miss 1 game on November 4th, the season opener. You would think that Josiah Mosley would get a majority of the run there in terms of, Dixon's points or minutes that he will be missing with the suspension. And then Alexander Gablagov played 2 minutes, did not score a basket, did have a rebound. And Malcolm Thomas also played in this game. Thomas was fouled, made both of his free throws for 2 points in 4 minutes. So Thomas contributed as well in this game. And some news that broke before Sunday morning was the news that Matthew Hodge was ineligible to play in this game and is ineligible for any NCAA game moving forward until they are working on, it's pending, they're working on completing the process for him to have eligibility. Really the press release did not go into much detail, and really either did Coach Neptune after the game. I'll read the press release. It said Villanova freshman forward Matthew Hodge will not be in uniform for Sunday's exhibition game against Robert Morris, pending completion of the NCAA initial eligibility process. The quote here from Coach Neptune, our NCAA compliance team continues to work with the Eligibility Center in the effort to get this resolved, stated Villanova head coach Kyle Neptune. Matt has maintained a great attitude since we learned of this and continues to get better each day in practice. We look forward to the day when Matt is with us in uniform. So Hodge did not play. Villanova is still trying to figure that out, but pretty big news. I think there's a good amount of expectations around Hodge, and hopefully we get to see him sooner rather than later in a Villanova uniform. And then some other news that just broke. This was in terms of Villanova women's basketball. This was probably about an hour ago, just before I was coming on air for this show, from Josh Verlin on Twitter at JMVERLIN. He said that he just got off a phone call with Villanova women's basketball head coach Denise Dillon for a season preview, and Bryn McCurry will miss the year due to an ACL injury, and so that is, pretty substantial for Villanova. McCurry was going to be coming off the bench for Villanova, especially in a season where they have really needed some offense. She was going to be fully healthy heading into the year, and unfortunately we get this news today. So Bryn McCurry is out for the season with an ACL injury. We wish her a speedy recovery, but some news that we have here for women's basketball. Not great news, of course, unfortunately, and very sad news for McCurry, and in terms of the ACL injury that she's dealing with. So speedy recovery to Bryn. I definitely wanted to bring that up here on today's show. In the final 10 minutes or so, we'll take a quick break, but I want to leave it open for your phone calls. You can call in the station. The phone number is 484-301-5335. Again, 484-301-5335. We'll keep it open for the next 10 minutes. It's pretty much yours. I'll break down my answers to the poll questions, which I already revealed a little bit. And any thoughts about Villanova football, men's or women's basketball, please feel free to share. I would love to talk with our listeners, and stay tuned for much more action. We still have 10 more minutes to go here on WXVU V89.1, The Roar.